Well, good morning and welcome to the Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium webinar. My name is Carl Lissick, Director with Drive Clean Indiana, and the Drive Clean Indiana team will be acting as your host and administrative sponsor for this and all upcoming Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium events. Today, our webinar is going to be very short and sweet, and we'll be featuring Mr. Carter Granberg from US EPA, who will provide us with an update of some of the opportunities and happenings with the US EPA, and Sean Seals from the state of Indiana, and Drive Clean Indiana will just be giving you some updates. So with that said, I just wanted to go over some housekeeping rules. So we will keep you muted throughout the meeting. So we will begin everyone in mute mode without cameras, but we'll open it up during question and answer time. You will be able to type in any of your questions, and we will get to as many questions as we can. If we don't get to your question, we provide you with an email answer. Today's presentation will be about 30 minutes, followed by a question and answer, as well as a short survey. So we would ask all of our participants to take the short survey, and all additional questions can be emailed to info@drivecleanindiana.org. And this presentation is being recorded and will be posted to the Drive Clean Indiana website. All of the upcoming announcements, including events, grant projects, and pertinent information will be on our website. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us at 219-644-3690. So with that, just a little bit about Drive Clean Indiana. We are headquartered in St. John, Indiana. We cover the entire state of Indiana, so all 92 counties. So it is our goal to work with each and every school district in the state of Indiana to help them implement clean school buses. Next slide, please. And so with that being said, I'd just like to introduce Mr. Carter Granberg. We'll just give a little bit of an overview on the EPA Clean School Bus. Carter?
Thank you very much, Carl. Hi, everybody. Wish I was coming with a bigger, more robust update about timelines on the rebate program and what you can expect going forward and any changes to the program. However, unfortunately, our headquarters is keeping that pretty close to their chest. We are expecting them to release information on that very, very soon. Probably before our next meeting, which I believe is in November. So I will again touch on this at the end of my talk, but I would really recommend, if you're not already on EPA's listserv, which you can join at epa.gov/cleanschoolbus, you could stay up to date that way and hear the day the program is announced for rebates, when that is and what to do for next steps. You can also follow epa.gov/cleanschoolbus's website and check in regularly over the coming month or two to see when that is announced, and we will try to do our best to notify priority schools as they are announced by the EPA that they are a priority school. With the grants, we're encouraged, and sorry, encouraged is too light a word, we are required to be very hands-off with priority schools. We're not supposed to give unfair advantages. With the rebates, we are allowed to have more of a communicative role, so we will be doing our end to reach out and communicate and let schools know, hey, you are deemed priority, you have a good shot at this, we encourage you to apply. With that said, I'm going to give a little bit of an overview of the program's rebates and grants and what the difference is. This is something we've kind of hammered on in the past at different meetings, but something that is worth repeating, especially as a new program is going live. Rebates work better for some school districts and grants work better for others. So what is the difference? Well, our grants program just closed, so it's good to keep this in mind going forward for the next round of grants if the rebates program maybe doesn't seem right for you. With both grants and rebates, selectees are awarded funds prior to purchasing the eligible buses and infrastructure, but there are a few small differences for the application process, selection process, and what happens after you are selected. So for an application process under rebates, it's typically a very quick and straightforward process. You simply apply, say what you want, you are either approved, not approved, and then you get funds to get the equipment and buses. For grants, you are going to have a much longer, more time-intensive process where you are reading through I believe, over 50-page Notice a funding opportunity was our last one. There's a lot of requirements and details of what you need to submit in. You are basically preparing a report that will be sent in and graded and then decided by the EPA if it should be awarded or not. For the actual selection process, under rebates, selectees are just randomly generated. A random number generator picks selectees, kind of a lottery style process. We've noticed in the past, if you are a priority school, you have a much higher chance. All but 2 of the selectees in the entire country in the last round of rebates were priority schools. So that we don't know the inner workings of this machine, but that signals to us on the regional level that being priority really matters. For grant schools, for grant program, recipient school districts are selected based on a more thorough evaluation of their application. That application is given points, then it's put into a pool to be chosen from based on how high they score. For the project period, what goes on after you are awarded under rebates, it's a much shorter project period. There's less hands-on support from the EPA, which can be really helpful depending if you know what you want, you apply, get your buses, get the funding, get in, get out. And there's a lot more flexibility in what that funding is provided for. For grants, you're looking at just overall everything is much longer and more involved. EPA may be offering more support for applicants during the project period. You would have a project officer. I myself am a project officer. You would be assigned one that would work with you over the life of the grant, making sure things are going well, answering questions you may have, following up with you on regular progress reports. You would maybe have some additional flexibility in funding, such as being able to provide funds for training and administrative costs. But the timing of the projects are going to be longer periods, and you're going to be expected to be more communicative back and forth with the EPA on your progress for those projects. Next slide, please. Oh, that's all I had.
So with that, I think, if there are questions that you have in regards to not only electric school buses, but any of the alternative fuel buses, please get in touch with our office. And Ryan Lissick is acting as our program manager for Drive Clean Indiana and the Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium. Next slide, please. With that, I would just like to take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Sean Seals from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and maybe Sean can just give us a little overview of some of the things that are going on in the state of Indiana. Sean.
Thanks, Carl. I don't have a ton, but what I can say is, happy to be a part of this team, working together to try to get as many clean school buses in the state of Indiana as we can. I know that we will have some remaining Volkswagen funds likely coming out later this year. At this point, we don't necessarily know what those funds will be dedicated towards, whether it will be non-road vehicles and equipment only, whether it'll be wide open or what it might be. So I would just encourage folks to kind of keep an eye on the Dieselwise Indiana and Volkswagen websites, as well as stay tuned with Drive Clean Indiana, who pretty much always knows what we have going on. That's pretty much all I have, Carl.
Thank you, Sean. And just to let folks know, we will not be having a meeting in October. So our next planned consortium meeting will be November 14th. And I just kind of wanted to review with you some of the things that we are working on for you, and potentially we will be having folks speak in this regard. So I know, understanding some of the infrastructure, we've been getting a lot of questions from school corporations on understanding the infrastructure, what types of infrastructure is needed. And again, I will just tell you, if you're working with your electric utilities, usually that's what we recommend to be your first call. So if you have questions in regards to where to get started, best management practices, please contact us. But I always think with the work that we're doing across the state of Indiana, working particularly with electric school buses, one of the first calls we always recommend to our school districts is to work with your local utility provider. Some of the other questions that we've been having is on energy management. What are the costs that are associated with electric school buses or propane school buses, and what types of management tools are people utilizing? So we will be covering that in an upcoming webinar. And then sourcing. I think one of the things too is that, potentially if you need to go out for a request for proposal for electric or for propane school buses, how do you do that? So we are going to be talking about, sourcing resources, and then, potentially sourcing not only the school buses, but the EVSE equipment. And then potentially, are there any programs that are being multi-utilized? So hypothetically, a school corporation that is teaming with your community, and is there opportunities potentially to share that infrastructure? So we're going to have potentially some speakers that can talk about that, all from Indiana, talking about what they've encountered, things that have worked, potentially things that have not worked, talking about these community partnerships. And again, what we want to promote are things that are going on in our great state and how we can work together and sharing success stories. So hopefully on our next call on the 14th of November, we'll be featuring that. The other thing is we want to make folks aware is some of the maintenance issues that we're having, not just with potentially the electric school buses, potentially electric charging equipment, and propane school buses. So we want to just get down and dirty, just so you can reference some of the things that you need to be aware of. And so these tools, this educational information will be something that we'll always have on our website, on the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition website, and sharing that as additional information becomes available. Megan, do we have any questions from anyone in the audience?
We do not at this time, but if you do have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat.
Sure. So I do have one, another question that has come up. We recently held in August, we did host a in-person Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium meeting. And I think one of the things that we're hearing across the state and across the United States, and I think Sean, Tony, and Carter would talk a little more about this, but best management practices. Again, our schools are a lot of the same, but our schools are different. And again, I think, we've had some questions in regards to what are the best management practices of the maintenance of electric school buses. We've had folks that have been inquiring about some of the maintenance issues, not only with the school buses, tire rotation, how folks are incurring. We've had some information too that potentially because of the weight of the school buses. So we want to dispel myths and activities. So we will be talking about some of the maintenance activities and some of the things that people that have already implemented electric school buses through the Indiana Volkswagen settlement, some of the best management practices they've been utilizing. So we'll be talking more about that. And if there's other information that you require, please reach out to us. I think when there is not a request for proposal on the street, Sean, Tony, and Carter are always available maybe to answer some of those questions. And but once a request for proposal comes out, everything has to be very formalized through writing and going directly to, if it's a state program or if it's a federal program, it has to go to those for federal procurement requirements. So with that being said, we will be listing all of the deployed electric school buses to date in our state. We think it's very important to provide peer-to-peer exchange with the folks that have implemented, and potentially for our fleet directors that might have questions, might have hesitations, might just be looking to clear the air on several issues. So again, the whole idea of our Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium is to team you not only with potential other fleets your size, that are distributed throughout the state of Indiana, but also to rest assured that this is going on not just in Indiana. School buses are being deployed across the United States, and things that we can work on collectively together to make our experience on the implementation of alternative fuel buses as pleasant and as as fun as possible. Some of the other things that we have had questions on is first responder training, and so that's another opportunity for us to provide that. So hypothetically, as you implement the alternative school buses into your community, into your district, what types of resources are available to provide training to, say, if it's a rural school or a school that is looking at implementing electric, what types of training and how can we help that? But the majority of our vendors that you'd be working with throughout our state provide various accredited classes through their dealerships and things like that. But again, I think from a state and a national perspective, we want to make sure that this is seamless and is incredibly simple for you to implement alternative fuel school buses into your organization. So with that being said, Megan, any questions?
Nope, nothing has come through.
Maybe go to our next slide, Megan. So just some of the things that we do have coming up through Drive Clean Indiana. We have our annual Clean Air Golf Outing, which is going to take place next Tuesday. This is a great opportunity to learn with different peers. Our golf outing is sold out, and we're excited about that. We will be doing a variety of events with the launch of Go EV Indiana, a ride and drive. And so you'll see some upcoming events that we have planned, and this is strictly on electric vehicles. So if there is something in your area of, that potentially that you're looking at potentially hosting an event, please reach out to us, because this is something that will be launching with the state of Indiana on Go EV Indiana and the National Drive Electric Week. So you can see the different meetings that are going to be happening, and if there's a possibility that you would like to see a electric school bus at one of these events, please reach out to us, because we probably can make that happen. Next slide, please. And again, if you have any questions in regards to Drive Clean Indiana into the Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium, please reach out to us and we'll respond as quickly as possible. There are no silly questions. And again, our goal here is to provide you with the most accurate information that's currently available, and to put you in touch with our professionals, with our state, Mr. Sean Seals, and our national US EPA folks like Carter and Tony. So again, we are here to provide resources to you. So again, there's no silly questions. And with that being said, just want to thank everyone for their time today. We look forward to our next upcoming meeting, and you'll see some of these resources. So we'll get the agenda posted for the November 14th event, and I believe that EPA and potentially IDEM might have some additional funding opportunities that might be available by them. But if there's not, we'll be providing you with some updates on what fleets, school bus fleets are doing here in our great state of Indiana. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day and a great week. And then we will definitely see you on the 14th of November. Thank you.